There is a reason why no achievement ever feels like enough. There is a reason why people spend years chasing success, money, status, and recognition, only to find themselves lying awake at night feeling exactly the same as before. From the outside, everything may look perfect. The job, the house, the relationship, the accomplishments. Yet deep inside, something still feels missing. Something still whispers, "You're not there yet." Most people spend their entire lives listening to that whisper. They obey it. They trust it. They build their future around it. But what if that voice has been lying to you from the very beginning? Not because it's evil, not because it's trying to destroy you, but because it doesn't actually know who you are. The voice in your head is not your true self. It's a storyteller, a narrator, a character that was built over years of experiences, memories, fears, and expectations. And somewhere along the way, you forgot the difference between the storyteller and the one listening. You forgot who you really are. When you were a child, life was different. You didn't wake up wondering if you were successful enough. You didn't compare your life to strangers. You didn't constantly analyze every mistake. You simply existed. You laughed freely. You explored without fear. You experienced life directly. Then something changed. Little by little, the world began telling you who you should be. Parents had expectations. Teachers had standards. Friends had opinions. Society had rules. And without realizing it, you started building an identity. You learned what was acceptable, what was admirable, what was embarrassing, what was worthy of praise, what was worthy of criticism. Each experience added another layer to the image you carried of yourself. Soon, that image became your reality. If someone praised you, you felt valuable. If someone criticized you, you felt diminished. Your sense of self became dependent on things outside of you, and that is where the ego was born. The ego isn't some monster hiding in your mind. It's simply the story you've created about who you think you are. The problem is that stories can be wrong. Imagine an actor who plays the same role for 30 years. Every day he wears the same costume, speaks the same lines, lives inside the same character. After enough time, he begins forgetting where the character ends and where he begins. That is exactly what happens to most people. They become so attached to the role that they forget the actor. The role says, "I am successful. I am a failure. I am attractive. I am unwanted. I am confident. I am insecure." But these are all descriptions. They are not your essence. They are not your true identity. They are temporary labels attached to temporary experiences. Yet millions of people build their entire lives around defending those labels. Think about how much suffering comes from comparison. Someone gets a promotion. Immediately you question your own progress. Someone buys a better car. You suddenly feel behind. Someone appears happier. You begin doubting your own life. The ego thrives on comparison because comparison creates separation. It convinces you that everyone else is ahead, that everyone else has something you lack, that happiness belongs to other people. But here's the truth. No matter how successful someone appears on the outside, they are fighting battles you cannot see. Many people smile publicly while struggling privately. Many people achieve greatness while feeling empty inside. Many people spend their lives climbing ladders only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall. The ego never tells you that. Because the ego survives by keeping you dissatisfied. If you were completely content right now, the ego would lose its influence. So it constantly creates another target, another goal, another version of yourself that must be achieved. That's why fulfillment always seems to exist somewhere in the future. After the next promotion, after the next relationship, after the next achievement, after the next breakthrough. But when you arrive there, nothing changes. The finish line moves again, and the chase continues. It's like running toward the horizon. No matter how far you travel, it always remains out of reach. The ego promises peace tomorrow while stealing peace today. And most people never notice. One of the greatest illusions the ego creates is the belief that you are your thoughts. A thought appears. You believe it. Another thought appears. You believe that too. Soon your entire identity becomes built from mental noise. But stop for a moment and consider something. Did you choose your last thought? Did you consciously create it, or did it simply appear? Most thoughts arrive on their own, just like clouds drifting across the sky. You don't create every cloud, you simply observe them. The same is true for thoughts. Yet people treat every thought as absolute truth. A fearful thought appears, and they become afraid. A negative thought appears, and they become discouraged. A doubtful thought appears, and they begin questioning themselves. But thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are events. Mental events. Temporary visitors passing through awareness. Imagine sitting beside a river. Leaves float past on the surface. Some are beautiful, some are damaged, some move quickly, some move slowly. You wouldn't jump into the river and grab every leaf. You would simply watch them pass. Thoughts are the same. The problem is that most people jump into the river. They chase every thought, fight every thought, identify with every thought, and eventually drown in the process. Freedom begins the moment you realize you can observe your thoughts without becoming them. That realization changes everything, because suddenly, there is space between you and the voice in your head, space between you and your fears, space between you and your insecurities. And within that space, peace becomes possible. There is an ancient story about a man carrying a heavy sack of stones. For years he dragged it everywhere. The weight exhausted him, slowed him down, made every journey difficult. One day someone asked him why he carried it. The man replied, "Because it's mine." The stranger looked confused. "What's inside?" The man opened the sack. It was filled with old regrets, past mistakes, painful memories, failures, shame. Things that happened decades ago. The stranger smiled and asked a simple question. "Why not put it down?" The man stood silent, because for so long he had mistaken the burden for himself. Many people are doing exactly that. They carry old wounds as identities, old failures as identities, old fears as identities. They believe the weight is who they are, but it isn't. It's only what they're carrying, and anything you're carrying can be put down. The moment you stop defining yourself by your past, a new possibility emerges, the possibility of being present. Most people never truly experience the present moment. Their body is here, their mind is somewhere else. Thinking about tomorrow, regretting yesterday, imagining problems, replaying conversations, worrying about things that may never happen. Meanwhile, life keeps passing by. Moment after moment, day after day, year after year. The present moment is the only place life exists. Yet the ego constantly pulls attention away from it, because the ego cannot survive in the present. The ego lives in memories and projections. Awareness lives here, right now, this very moment. Think about the sky. Storms come and go. Clouds appear and disappear. Thunder arrives. Rain falls. Then eventually the sky becomes clear again. But the sky itself remains untouched. Your awareness is like that sky. Thoughts are clouds. Emotions are weather. Experiences are storms. They come. They stay for a while. Then they leave. But the awareness beneath them remains unchanged. That awareness has been with you your entire life. It watched your childhood. It watched your teenage years. It watched your successes. It watched your failures. It watched every joyful moment and every painful one. Everything changed, yet awareness remained. That is closer to who you truly are than any label you've ever worn. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop identifying with the ego, you don't lose yourself. You discover yourself. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop needing constant validation. You stop comparing your journey to everyone else's. Life becomes lighter, not because challenges disappear, but because unnecessary suffering disappears. You stop fighting reality. You stop resisting what is. You stop carrying burdens that no longer belong to you. And for the first time, you experience something deeper than happiness. Peace. Real peace. The kind that doesn't depend on circumstances. The kind that remains even when life becomes difficult. Because it comes from within. Not from achievement. Not from approval. Not from success. From awareness itself. So the next time that voice in your head tells you that you're not enough, pause. Listen carefully. Notice that the voice is speaking. Then notice something even more important. You are hearing it. And if you can hear it, you are not it. You are the awareness behind it. The witness behind every thought. The presence behind every experience. The silent observer that has been there all along. For years, the ego has been telling you a story about limitation, a story about fear, a story about inadequacy, a story about separation. But stories are not reality, and the moment you stop believing every word of that story, the moment you see through the illusion, a remarkable truth begins to reveal itself. You were never broken. You were never incomplete. You were never lacking anything essential. You simply forgot. You forgot who you were beneath the noise, beneath the labels, beneath the expectations, beneath the endless voice of the ego. And now you remember. You are not the voice. You are the one who hears it. You are not the fear. You are the awareness observing fear. You are not the story. You are the consciousness experiencing it. And once you truly understand that, the ego loses its power, the fear loses its grip, and life begins to open in a way you never thought possible, because the person you've spent your entire life searching for has been within you all along.